Spider-Man is getting a revival from the animated series from the 90s. So, you know what? Play the intro real quick. Alright, now that you had that intro, that's the show that we're going to talk about, and it's having a revival, and not in the way that you would think, right? So recently we've got, X-Men 97 and things like that, and of course, then everything's on the table, right? What else can Marvel reboot or Sony or whatever? Well, so it's Spider-Man 94, and it's going to get a revival, right? But not in an animated sense. They're going to make a comic book about it. But here's the weird part about it. So the original writer for the show was never contacted to actually, end really the way he wanted to end it, because it was kind of left on a cliffhanger. The show, if you don't know, I don't want to spoil it for you, but you can go ahead and see that that series is a really good series. It might be a little dated, but it is a good series. It introduces a lot of things that are now popular today in that show, and actually the creator of that show, writer, I say creator because there's a lot of things that came out of there that were from his brain, his imagination, that are now being used today, and he mentions that in this article that we're going to talk about here right now. Here we go. So, Spider-Man, the animated series creator, reveals why he's not part of the Marvel continuation. The creator behind Spider-Man animated series has responded to the news that Marvel is reviving the property as a comic book. Semper Jr. was the primary writer behind the hit animated series of the 90s, which helped set the standard for all Marvel animated adaptations that would follow it. For many fans of the web slinger, Spider-Man, the animated series, was the gateway into heroes, similar to how fans speak about X-Men, the animated series. Spider-Man 94 will pick up on the conclusion of Spider-Man, the animated series, but will be without the contributions of Semper. He's gone into detail on not being part of the revival. Now that's crazy, because if you think about it, what happened in the show, it was waning. Of course, as every other show, when it ends, it starts to wane, popularity starts to wane, viewers grow up, they fall off, and I think it was gonna get canceled, so they had to kind of wrap it up. And there was a lot of loose ends that didn't get tied up, like Mary Jane. There's something that happens with Mary Jane in there that didn't get kind of neatly packed up, and the writer didn't really get to tell what happened after that, right? I think there was supposed to be another season to kind of wrap it up. But anyway, you would think they would say to him, hey, listen, we haven't, we're thinking about doing this thing. Do you have any ideas for it? You would think that would be what they would do, but they didn't. But before we go any further, this channel is not monetized, but I do have a TeePublic store. Now, I have another boxing channel, so you see some boxing merch here. But you see some other stuff here, some fan art that I'm doing here, and it's relevant things like the Spider-Man stuff. I had a lot more. I kind of shrunk it down. I'm gonna revamp it. So please, if you will, visit that. I will link it in the description box down below. Now, let's pick up to what he was talking about. So now, this is Semper talking about why he's not involved. Since I will no doubt be asked about fans of the series, no, I am not involved with this comic book, and no one at Marvel has approached me to be involved in any way. He went on to praise the new showrunner, or writer, showrunner, right? J.M. DeMatteis, who is writing Spider-Man 94, but made sure to note that he didn't have any input on the story details, right? So here we go. So where he now chooses to take the series story-wise is entirely his decision. But for the record, they are not my creative choices, nor do they represent any oversight by me. Yes, it would have been nice, some might even say respectful, if Marvel would have reached out to me at some point as a courtesy, but I have long ago abandoned the expectation that Marvel would acknowledge any of my contributions to the Marvel Universe. Like, for instance, my creation of what is now known as the Spider-Verse. That's what I was talking about earlier, right? He was the first one to really kind of start making these universes kind of connect for Spider-Man and created something entirely different that was never existed before prior to the animated series. So I wish them well and encourage us all to celebrate with the good cheer this 30th anniversary year of Spider-Man the Animated Series. And keep your eye on all my socials, especially YouTube, because I intend to launch my own celebration of my series in the very near future. In the immortal words of my mentor Stan Lee, enough said. So here's what I was talking about earlier. Spider-Man 94 will officially resolve the cliffhanger from Spider-Man the Animated Series. 30 years ago, the series ended up with Spider-Man entering the multiverse to save Mary Jane. I don't want to kind of spoil it, but I forgot that it's sort of in this story. The saga will also introduce the animated universe's versions and comic book characters that have never appeared in the original series. So we're going to get new characters. Here goes the comic book specs and speculators and ruining everything, and they're going to take up prices and do all kinds of stuff. I just want to see new characters, and I can see this already. Like, everybody's trying to get the new Harley Quinn. That's what it is. But whatever. In the 1990s, the Spider-Man animated series has become a beloved part of the Spidey lore and its introduction of Peter Parker and his universe for an entire generation. And I'm delighted to be giving back into that universe. Limited IGN. We're treating this as the next season of the show, which means introducing new villains and new challenges and new adventures for Peter, while doing our best to remain true to the creative spirit that John Semper and the company established in the original show. And here's some covers that I think are being commissioned. I like that one. I do like that black suit action figure one, and it's gonna actually hit the shelves on 9/3. You got written by DeMatteis, art by Jim Tow, covered by Nick Bradshaw, variant covered by Ron Lim, action figure variant covered by John Tyler Christopher, on sale 9/3. Blah blah blah. It goes on. Now here's my thing. If you're saying it's like a next season of the animated series, don't you have an obligation to know what that would have been like? It's not your show. It's not your story. The guy hasn't passed on, right? It's a different story if a guy has passed away and you go, okay, this guy's no longer with us. We kind of want to resolve this and do it in a respectful way. Okay, let me go ahead and let's try to take a crack at this. I got a good idea, right? Let me talk to his friends, colleagues, maybe some other show writers, maybe that they kind of, what did he ever talk about how he wanted to continue it, and then kind of piece together and then take my spin on it. And take it what I think he would have took it with the ideas that I can get together, right? I can understand that. But the man is still there. The man probably knows exactly where he wanted the show to go. Now, will he have had new characters invented? Maybe not. But maybe that's something Marvel would have told him. Like, hey, the only kind of thing we wanted you to do is kind of interject some new blood and some new characters and some new things. So maybe replace some characters. Like if you had a storyline with the Green Goblin, kind of make up a new character for that, instead of the Green Goblin. Whatever, right? Okay, got it. Because, you kind of want to make money. You kind of want to run out of franchises, t-shirts, things like that. You want to make the money. I get it. Cool. But the man's still there. You could have got the man, like you said, a common courtesy call and said, even if you didn't want to use him, and say, hey, will you take this meeting with us as a courtesy? And then to go a different direction, right? I got it. But the man, this is the thing about Marvel, and not just Marvel, but other big studios that still do this to properties of the people who are still here, who had a hand in it and reviving it. Those people are still here. And if you liked it that much and you think it had that so much potential, why you don't reach out to them, right? Especially if they were beloved, right? Maybe it's different when it's something that you say had potential but wasn't quite done right in the beginning. Kind of like Dinosaurs, right? The 80s cartoon, right? I love that cartoon, but it was kind of hokey. It has potential. I get why you wouldn't want to bring a writer from there, again, to do that thing, right? Silverhawks recently. Hokey. Clone of Thundercats. Potential galore. Revive it in a comic book form. You want a new writer on it. Take a spin at it. Make it legendary. I got that. That show is already legendary. You bring it now, and the guy's sitting there, and you're saying, "Oh, this is next season," but the guy who wanted to make the next season you're not even asking him to come in. But anyway, I just thought it was a crazy thing to kind of do, seeing as the guy's still there. That's what gets to me every single time. But anyway, let me know if it comes down below. What do you think? Do you think they should have actually called them and said, hey, will you take this meeting with us? And even if they didn't intend on using them, do you think that it's just their prerogative? They could do whatever they want and hire whoever they want, and it's their property, and they could do however they please. And, forget that the fans now who are older, who are the ones that are primarily buying the books or would buy the books, are the ones that grew up with that animated series. Anyway, let me know down below. I'll see you in the next video, and I'm out. Peace.